Hey, welcome to Talking Hawks. Back for another episode, bringing all the latest information about Hawks to you guys around the world. Let's jump into it. Mitch, how are you this week?
Very good, Chris. G'day, fans. Brooke, Spindoctor, everyone I can see in the comments. Nick, how are we, guys? Look, 2 more games to go. Let's hope we can start a run home with not start a run home because we won last week. So let's finish off a run home with 3 wins in a row. Finish off the year in style. And what better way to do that than kick off this week with a win against Richmond?
That's it, mate. It's a good win against Gold Coast. I was sort of sitting on the fence and almost thinking Gold Coast were going to be walking away with the win. So no, it was good to get that win, and especially for Big Boy's 250th. So, and we've got another milestone game this week, Jarman Impey.
Yeah, 150 games. So congrats to Jars. Let's hope he goes well this week and kicks a few for us. If he's playing forward, they may switch him back. But I think based on the last few weeks, he's probably going to play forward. So let's hope he can kick a few snags for us.
Yes. Good luck to him. All right, mate. I guess we get stuck into this game against Richmond. You said you were going to try and watch the replay. Did you manage to do that?
I got to the first quarter and I thought, you know what, it was going to be about 7:40 by the time the game finished, and I thought I'm going to be strapped for time. So I watched one of the KO minis on the last game. So I actually had a decent memory of the Tigers game because it was actually my first show was the preview for Richmond. So a little bit full circle for me here tonight, mate, with Richmond again. So, didn't get to watch a full game, but as I mentioned, watched the mini. So a few takeaways from that game that maybe a little bit more relevant this week, especially with Richmond needing to win both their games to really solidify their spot in the final. So they're going to be dangerous this week, and we'll discuss that tonight. I'll get to a few key players that we need to get on top of a bit later.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is an interesting battle for that last 2 spots, really, in the 8. Carlton sitting 7th. Wow. What were they, 10-2 or something like that? Something ridiculous. Yeah. Looking at missing the 8. And they got a tough run home, too.
Yeah, they went into the bye. Really, I think they were top 4, definitely into the bye. I did a ladder predictor, I think last week or possibly the week before, and I didn't even realise until I got to the end, and I had them 9th. So, wow. We'll see. I think they got a couple of tough games coming home. We probably play the two that are really vying for contention in Richmond and the Doggies. We're playing them for the last 2. So we do have a little bit of an ability to shape the finals, as we've mentioned in probably the last 4 weeks coming home, Chris. But we'll see how we go. Let's start off against Richmond, and then we'll deal with the Doggies next week.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's got to be a pretty big motivating point at this point of the season when, we can't make finals. What are you playing for? We're playing to, kick Richmond out of finals. How good would that feel?
Yeah, it would be good. It would be very good. But I think if we beat the Doggies next week, that'll probably bump them back in, I think. Or it might mean Carlton finish 8th. But we'll see how it plays out. I agree, Zachary. Hopefully we can win this week against Richmond. Last time we played them, we ran them to, I think it was 23 points. However, we made a real charge at them late in the game. We got it back to within 2 kicks, and then within a couple of minutes, they got it back out to that sort of original margin of about 4 goals. But hopefully we can turn that around this week.
Yes, mate. I was sort of thinking, I guess we've been in some decent form lately, and it would have been nice to get Mitch Lewis back on the park, but he's been officially ruled out for the season. Along with, who else did they call today? CJ. CJ's out for the season as well. So, fair enough. I sort of thought that they would do that, and then I was sort of surprised when they said he was going up for a fitness test for this week, and I thought, maybe they do want to play him and try and have a couple of wins. But, put him away, cotton wool, and probably not a bad move.
Yeah, I think it's the right move. We've 2 games left to play. We're not in contention. The only thing, he's had a knee injury for the last, 2-3 weeks. It's been sort of on and off. Why would you bring him back to risk further damage that could possibly then impede into next year? Like you said, put him in some cotton wool, wrap him up. And he's had a really good year as it is. And let's hope that he improves on that again next year with a full pre-season.
All right, I do want to keep talking about the Tigers, but let's quickly segue to Big Boy. Made his announcement during the week. He held off, obviously, been contemplating it for a while. I watched his little interview or his speech to the boys when he first announced it to them. Mentioned he'd spoken to Sammy and it sounded like Robert Harvey by the looks of it. About making the decision, and it's not an easy one to walk away, especially with the injury he had this year, and his body's really rested up well. He could potentially play another season, but he's made the call. Yeah, I was really hoping he had another year in him, but fair call. I don't blame him, and good luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favourites to pull on a Hawthorn jumper, mate. He's very courageous, and I won't go too much into him because I think we've got a piece dropping on him next week, I believe. Keep an eye out for that, Hawks fans. So that'll be good to celebrate his career. He's played, hopefully, all going well, he'll have played 252 games by the time season ends. I believe 159 at Hawthorn, 91 at St Kilda. He's kicked something like 90 goals, I think, with us, or 76 goals with us, and about 20 odd with St Kilda. So for a ruckman, that's a pretty good effort. Like I said, very courageous. Congrats to him, and I would like to see him go on again, but I think only he knows when it's time to retire. And I think obviously we've got to respect that decision, as sad as it makes us as Hawks fans.
I don't blame him. You've got to live the rest of your life with a body that's already been beaten up pretty much. So he's got a young family to look after and a farm. If he's going to run a farm, which I think he's going to do. So
yeah. Just had a really good question. Sorry, Chris. I'm just going to jump in there from Brooke. President Mitch, I like that's catching on, guys. So thanks. I think Tom was the one to bring that up. So cheers, mate. Do you think boy retired? I don't know if he retired to help the club go after Brodie Grundy, but I think we'll make a play for him. With a young ruck brigade, I would think we'll have at least a crack at Grundy. He's gettable. So I would like to see it. He's arguably the second best ruckman in the comp when he's fit. And I mean, he takes it right up to Gawn as well when he was fit. So I think it would be silly not to at least ask the question. Whether we get him or not is another issue, but I'd like to see it. Cody doesn't agree with me.
And Nick. Yeah, look, I think you've got to look at it. And we've seen what happened with our ruck stocks this year when we had the injuries, and it really made us struggle. Obviously, when Big Boy came back in, we've won about 4 or 6 games or something since he's come back into the team. So having a strong ruckman in the team, and obviously Reeves going down long term didn't help. And who knows what's going to happen with Maxi and his concussion in long term. So Maxi Ramsden's a fair way off being a regular ruckman. I mean, he might get a game in the near future, as in sort of next year. But I don't know. It would steady the ship a little bit to have a solid ruckman. But club will do their due diligence. It's probably not our highest priority, but I would like them to at least consider it. So going back a bit, thanks, Damien. Yes, will Liam get a farewell game? I think we discussed this quickly pre-show, and he's been named in the team. So that sort of indicates that it's potentially a farewell game. I don't know if he's got enough to get another contract or not. I guess we're looking at lift spaces. We've got to move a few on this year, and I don't know. There's a lot of kids with the potential, and it could come down to Liam or a kid, I guess.
Yeah, I'd probably leaning towards no, that he wouldn't get a contract for next year. I mean, he spent the last month at Box Hill. He has been playing very well, but I think if you're looking at the way we're picking the side, we're sort of looking to the youth, which is a good thing. And I would be surprised if he went round again, and if he did, it would more be to sort of help the youngsters. And I don't think he would get a whole lot of games, but I am a fan of the sort of retirement game. You know, if you're pushing for finals and there's a bit to play for, maybe not. But there's nothing really to lose by giving him a farewell game. He's a 3-time premiership player for us. one club player for us. He's been a Hawk since day dot. I would like to see him go out on a high and get a game in the side and hopefully win, whether that's this week or next week. I think I would like to. Yeah, so.
All right, thank you for that info. Caroline Wilson, probably going to follow Clarko to North. Interesting. Depends where Clarko ends up, really. But I don't know. I tend to agree. I think if he still had a little bit more pace, it might have been a different story. And I guess it all depends on where he's at and whether he wants to go around or not. At the end of the day, it's a decent paycheck, even if he's on minimum wage to play another season, whether it be Hawthorn or somewhere else. But yes, like you said, to be a one club player, over 250 games, premiership player, I think he's deserved of a farewell game, and hopefully the boys can get a win. I don't know. When do you reckon he's going to announce it? If he's going to announce it, I think it's a bit late this week, don't you?
Yeah, well, we're running out of time. I wouldn't think he does it this week, no. Unless he thinks he's not going to get picked and he's trying to maybe strong arm into a selection, but I doubt he's not going to do anything like that. So, I don't know. I couldn't imagine it's this week. It's Thursday already. Teams are out. Possibly, maybe if he plays this week and then might announce it during the week and he plays again the following week against the Doggies. But we'll just wait and see. He might want to go on. So if he wants to go on, it could be until after the season if they don't offer him a contract.
Maybe takes a bit of shine away from McEvoy calling his time if he does it in the same week. So maybe he's holding off for another week.
Exactly. Thanks, Con. He does deserve a farewell game. I'm with you, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go through the ins and outs, mate.
So
ins, James Blanck into the side. He was the medical sub last week. I do expect him to come back into the side. We've also got another debutant in Jack Saunders listed to play. Don't know much about him. Did a little bit of research on him this week. Had a really good game last week. Chris, I think you were at the game last week. Did he stand out for you or?
Yeah, I watch him closely every time I watch Box Hill because he's a little jet and he's got so much potential and he just doesn't seem to be doing quite enough consistently to get into the team. He did stand out a little bit to me. I watched the second and third quarters before I had to go pick the kids up. I've been waiting because I do think he's got potential at AFL level. So pretty much just a small forward who's just, like I said, he's just a jet and could easily get on the end of a few goals if he gets into the right place. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's coming off 2 goals last week, and as Glenn has just mentioned, right on cue, he's got some pace. He uses the footy pretty well as well. I think Andy Otten was talking in his player review this week about they're trying to work on his, his defensive work and his pressure forward to 50. So they're working really on his tackles, and he had 5 tackles, which was the most that he had in a game. So he's clearly ticking off some goals that they're setting for him at Box Hill, and hopefully he gets a shot this week. He's been named, obviously, in the extended squad. Not sure if he'll get in, but if he does, I hope it goes well. We've touched on Shiels. He's been listed, and Jackson Callow, who has been listed again, coming off his own bag of 3 goals last week at Box Hill.
Yep. Just looking, we basically got Jekka and Callow are the 2 talls. I'd expect one of those 2 to play.
Yep.
Or be named, sorry. Then you're looking at Finn. You think Finn's basically a lock, isn't he? Even though he's been named on the bench.
Yeah.
So it pretty much puts us down to Joyce Sarong, like I said, Shields, Howe, Connor McDonald. You think Connor McDonald's a lock, don't you?
Yeah,
unless they want to rest him. I wouldn't blame him if they rest him and gave Saunders the game just to see, because Saunders is out of contract, which we can talk about soon, I think.
Yeah. I think Keller's had a pretty good month or so at Box Hill. I think he's probably the one for me that stands out. Also, bringing James Blanck back into the side is probably big when you've got Lynch and Rewalt down there. Jekka, obviously, he's been playing back down there the last 2 or 3 weeks, I believe, but Blank's probably going to get one of the 2 if he does get listed. Possibly does Sicily maybe go to the other one? What do we think?
Yeah, probably, mate. Yeah, they're a hard matchup because I think we got it wrong last time, and I think that's where they dominated us. So it'd be interesting to see how we approach it this time around.
Yeah, I think Lynch kicked 4 last time. I believe Rewalt kicked 3, as did Martin. Martin's obviously not playing this week, but Martin kicked 3, and I think Bolton kicked 2 as well. So there's a bit to look out for in that in their forward 50. Obviously, the 2 talls, Lynch is arguably one of the best key forwards in the game. So I think he's probably the first matchup that we go to, and then possibly look at Rewalt and the others there. I think Blanck probably gets back in for me. Not sure. Jekka's been pretty good, but I think Blanck's had some job on some key defenders for most of his games this year. He's probably the standout, I think.
Yeah, no, he's definitely more the most solid option. But just looking, Cumberland is been a huge threat who didn't play last time we played him. So, yeah, with Lynch, Rewalt, and Cumberland, we've got our work cut out. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We'll see how we go. But if we can stop 2 of them, you're probably not going to stop all 3, and then you got Bolton running through there as well. Stopping 2 of them is going to go a long way. We can't let them kick. 4-3. 7 goals between the 2 of them. That's just we'll lose the game if that happens again. So, Sammy Butler has come out. He's been omitted. He's had a decent start. What's that? Sorry.
Is that a surprise?
Yes and no. He's had a decent start to his career, and he's been able to get some footy as well, which is good.
Yeah.
I don't know how many games he's played in a row, but he debuted sort of middle of the season, so he's had a pretty good stint. Yet to really have that standout performance, but he's looked really good in patches. Possibly maybe going to give Saunders a look in his place. But, I mean, with 1 out and then 4 ins listed, it's going to be hard to shuffle around. As the fans know, and yourself, Chris, I don't like making too many changes after a win, but we'll see how we go. I think Sammy's a little bit stiff, but we'll see more of him next year and possibly even next week, but definitely more of him next year, and he'll continue to get better off his performances this year.
Now, we're assuming Finn's going to play a tagging role, as he's successfully done for most of this season when he's played. Who do you think Finn is going to go to? Is Bolton an option, do you think, or is it probably more of a full-time midfielder?
Yeah, no, I think he is. I was having this conversation with Daz before he came on. I just wanted to bounce some thoughts off the man. So we both sort of agreed that Bolton's certainly, I believe Bolton's their most dangerous player at the moment. He's arguably one of the best in the comp, full stop, at the moment.
Yeah.
My question was, okay, does he spend enough time at centre bounce to warrant Finn going to him? Daz brought up a stat for me. I think he spends 54% time in the centre. So that's probably enough, I would think, to send Finn to him. The only other logical tagging option is probably Prestia. He killed us last time. At least in the guts, had 8 clearances, 28 disposals off the top of my head. But I absolutely think it's an option, sending him to Bolton.
Here we go.
That's a different option. Absolutely, yeah. Can he, just back to Bolton, can he defend well enough when Bolton goes forward? I don't think so, and that's probably why I would probably lean towards going to Prestia. What do we think, fans, Chris?
No, I'll rate that comment, and nothing against Finn, but I guess being a defender, Bolton just takes really good marks on the lead, just above head. Anything above head, and I don't know that Finn's got what it takes to stop it. Yeah, I agree. So it may not be the best option for him to go to. So who's next in the pecking order? Who do you reckon he's going to go to?
Oh, I think Prestia. If you're not going to look at Bolton, I think Prestia is certainly probably the most dangerous out of their mids. Cochin, I don't think, is playing. I think he got suspended. So probably, for me, I think it's a clear, if you're not going to entertain Bolton, it's a clear standout to Prestia. Hopefully he gets the job done I reckon he's unbeaten at the moment in his role. So hopefully he can continue that trend. But yeah, Prestia for me, if he doesn't go to Bolton.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Someone should stop Pickett. What do you reckon? When he's up and about, he's influential on the game, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I still think Bolton's probably more of a danger. And if you're not going to send him to Prestia, you send him to Pickett. Maybe I think Pickett's sort of been playing a bit of time on the wing. Possibly Nashi can run with him, which I would think.
Well, Pickett is named on the wing, and well, we know he's got the tank and probably enough speed to go with him.
Oh, he can definitely run with him for sure. I think that's probably the matchup. Certainly wouldn't entertain tagging him, but Nashi goes to him. I'm much more worried about what Prestia and Bolton can do. Right.
What do you reckon about that? Nashi on Bolton.
I did see that. I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't.
Make him feel it a little bit. We'll see, but he's pretty good. Bolton. I reckon he's one of the. As I said, I reckon he's just about one of the best in the comp at the moment. He's going to be hard to
look. Nashi's going to match him about like in the air.
Yeah.
It's going to be good enough to negate him and tackle him. And like you said, he could really hurt him. So I'd love to see it.
It would be. Well, I mean, we'll see. He's number one in the comp for clearances per centre bounces.
There you go. Scrimmer on Bolton is forward and Nash to take him in the middle.
You think Hardwick Dimmer plays on him if he's spending most of the time forward? That was probably...
Oh, look, don't know. I reckon he's probably got too much pace. I don't know. I know Hardwick plays tall, but I just think he would get outmarked by Bolton.
Yeah, okay.
It's a really tough matchup. And
it's
probably potentially the difference in winning and losing.
Yeah, definitely. And if even if we shut him down, as we've already mentioned, we've got the tools to worry about. So we'll see how we go. It was a high-scoring affair last time, mate. I'm hoping we get that again, but hopefully it's more in our favour this time. Sorry.
Oh, Jack Gunston's on fire at the moment, is he? Since he come back into the team, he's about 3 goals a game or something like that.
Yeah,
so
a little bit, maybe even a little bit more. To be honest, I think he's kicked 11 or 12 for the last 3. Not the best record against Richmond, though. His last 6 games, I think he's only managed 3 or 4 goals in that span. Might even be 3, I think. So hopefully he can get that little monkey off his back this week because he's been our best forward for at least the last 4 weeks.
And Cozzy basically taking that main tall role down forward. And I think he's probably played better with Mitch Lewis out of the team. When he was missing early in the season, Cozzy stepped up to the plate and was kicking 2s and 3s. So get a few goals each from those two, Morey, Impey, Bruce, those sort of guys chip in with 1 each. We're well and truly on our way to kicking a winning score, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I read an interesting stat today, and I didn't actually know if it was completely accurate. I like to think it is, but it was in the 56 one-on-one contests that Kaczynski has been targeted this year. He has not won one of them. He has not taken a mark in one of them. I sent it to Daz and said, what do you think? Like, is this accurate? And we sort of both agreed on that it probably is. If that's the case, not a great stat to have. And we'd noticed it the last couple of weeks, as did some of the fans. They pointed it out in one of the reviews that we did. I don't know if it was last week or possibly the week prior, saying that is he becoming the new Timmy O'Brien in the best almost mark in the competition. But considering that the fans have noticed it, I think it's probably more accurate than not. But it is concerning if that is the case.
There we go. Paul's come up with an interesting stat there. If it's accurate, Richmond got Bolton with the pick we gave him for the victory. What a disaster. I'd rather just
no comment.
Yeah, no comment. We don't want to dig that up anymore.
No. All right.
Does DGB retain his spot? Well, he's been named on the ground, so he's definitely playing this week. Can he be a marking option forward? I think he loves kicking a goal. I guess it's a bit it's like Scrimshaw going down forward the other week. I think he would easily take a grab if he got the opportunity to go down there. I just don't know. I guess if he's been playing as a backman, he should know the leading patterns and whatnot. it's an option. Whether it gets used or not, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with Con, who's just said DJB to go to Jack. I agree.
That was the starting matchup last time, wasn't it? Before we got him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that call. I think he'll go to Jack. Hopefully we can get the better of him because I really like him in the side. He just needs to put a couple of strong performances together to really cement that spot in that back six. And then if we want to play around with pushing him forward next year or the year after, that's a possibility. He mentioned in the chat that we had with him a few weeks ago, Chris, that it's something that he'd be open to. But for the time being, I think play him in his position. He likes to defend. Let's give him a real good crack down back.
Here we go. And talking about big boy retiring, who is our next captain in waiting? Would it be Jack? I don't know if you're going to give it to Jack if he's only got another year or two left, or do you do it? Well, that's what I thought Big Boy's role was, to take captaincy for 1 or 2 years until we've had the standout, which we were waiting for, which might have been Sicily. Has he done enough?
I still think it's Sicily, to be honest. I don't really see anyone else that's really sticking their hand up. There's got a really young side now, so I don't think you can make any of the youngsters captain just yet. I think if you're looking at who's ready, it's Sicily quite comfortably for me, unless you were to give it to a Gunston. But as you mentioned, if we've only got 1 or 2 years left, then it's got sort of handover captain after handover captain. I agree, Troy. It's Sicily for me. Tom said Dylan Moore, great player. I wouldn't give him skipper just yet. Like, if he's
a lot of responsibility, he can break the player sometimes.
Exactly. It's probably a bit early for me, Tommy, but possibly something in his future down the road. But I think Sicily is probably the next option. Nick's just come up with a good one, maybe Dimmer. Hardwick, certainly an option. But yeah, Sicily.
I've always rated Dimmer and thought he could do the role quite well, similar to Hodgie, but I've got someone who knows him quite well, and I don't think he has aspirations to be captain, so I don't think we're going to see it.
Okay. Well, Sicily for me is a clear standout. How do we think we're going to beat Richmond, mate? I've got a couple of stats here. Richmond have scored 60 points per game from intercept possessions. About 35 of them come from intercept possessions in their forward half. So that would mean we're going to have to use the ball well coming out of defensive 50. It has been a staple of our game for the year. We 24% of our scoring chains.
Option captain, sorry, mate.
No, absolutely. Sorry, I don't mind going to comments when it's
we overlooked Jaeger. And
thank you. Yeah, Jaeger's probably clear. Yeah, Jaeger and Sicily for me. Yeah, so 24%, I believe, of our scoring chains start from our defensive 50, which is ranked 1. It's the most in the comp. So if we use the ball well coming out of defensive 50, that's going to go a long way to helping us win the game, because if we're turning the ball over, you're playing into Richmond's pocket and they're probably going to hurt you on turnover.
I think when we do that successfully, it's when we move the ball quick and take a few more risks. And like you said, I think when we played Richmond, they absolutely shut us down and we took too long to move the ball, and they just turned it over on us and well and truly beat us at our own game there. So can we do it successfully is the question, I guess.
Exactly right. When you give their defenders room to come off and intercept, which we all know they like to do, if you give them time to set up, come across and mark, you're pretty much giving the game away, really. We know how Richmond have sort of been worked out since their sort of, I guess, dynasty sort of years. The way to beat Richmond is to play Richmond-style footy, chaos ball, get it forward. And I want to see some repeat entries, because if we're just letting them set up down the line all day and we're just going long, the defenders are going to be able to just pick that off too easy, I believe.
And I think, like you said, that chaos ball has actually worked quite well for us during the season. So it's nice to get a lace-out ball and kicked to a leading forward and then they go back and slot it. But it has worked quite well. And our small forwards, when they're on, with Brewsty and Morey and those types, it's not a bad option for us to just do that, especially without having Mitch Lewis there. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely going to have to be a feature. Get it in there. I just want to see some repeat entries. We haven't been the best at inside 50s this year. I think we're ranked about 15th, I believe, off the top of my head. But
we're quite efficient when we get it in.
We're very efficient. So are Richmond, though. Richmond, I believe they're ranked 2 in efficiency inside 50, and we're ranked 3. So it was a feature that we touched on in the last review. I do remember that. But and they were a little bit better at putting it on the board, as I mentioned. 4 goals to Lynch, 3 to Rewalt, 3 to Martin. So if they have that type of return from the likes of, Rewalt, Lynch, Cumberland, Bolton, it's going to make it hard for us.
Yeah, they were pretty scary the other week when they got rolling against Brisbane. Brisbane couldn't do a thing wrong, and then as soon as they sort of turned the tide, they just chipped away. So yeah, we've got to pretty much play a 4-quarter game, as Ross has said there, because Richmond don't give up, especially with their spot in the 8 on the line. So yeah, we'll definitely play 4 quarters to win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think any team is. I'm still of the opinion that if they get into the finals, they're going to scare a few. I think they know what it takes to win finals. They've been there, done that. They've got a couple of possibly some sides that they've got some experience on. I think we might, if we beat them this week, I think there might be a few sides that are thanking us by the end of the round.
Good segue. I don't know if you got that list of injuries at the moment. I think we've got about 9 on the written out for the season.
Yes. So Lewis and CJ, obviously the first 2 to join. The most recent 2 to join that list. They join Chad Wingard, Frosty, Jimmy Warple, as we know, Brockman, Connor Downey, Seamus Mitchell, and Lockie Bramble. So quite a few on the shelf. Obviously, when they say that they're ruled out for the season at this time of year, that's 2-3 weeks. It's not probably as dramatic as it sounds, but we're hoping that we can see those guys next year, because that's quite a dint in the best 22.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, like I said, it's good to get a few more games into these kids while we're there, but obviously a few wins doesn't hurt to build that winning culture. All right. Do we just quickly touch on the out-of-contract players leading up to the end of the season?
Not a bad idea, mate. I think you've got the list there. The 9 Finn to Nate. I don't know. I've just seen that.
I've got the list, mate. So unrestricted free agents, which mean they can pretty much leave and go to any club they want. Daniel Powell, which he's always been in question when he's been out of contract, and he's always been given another contract, and he's just a handy utility, but just been not used as much this year as previously. So he could be potentially on the move, and I think another club would give him a lifeline too.
Yep, absolutely.
Gunners is in the same boat. I think he would re-sign. Whether they're in, you'd imagine they're in negotiation at this point in time, and I couldn't see Gunners going anywhere else.
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
Maybe if he was chasing a flag. I don't know. I don't think he's quite old enough to go to Geelong yet. But
nice one.
Liam Shiels is an unrestricted free agent. So, yeah, potentially go to a club for a year maybe if he's lucky.
Yep.
The rest of the players, so Connor Downey, Emerson Jecker, Harry Morrison, sign quickly now.
Yes.
Jack Saunders, like we said, playing for his career virtually. Hopefully he gets a game this week and he can, a bit like Morey. Morey was just on the edge of potentially missing a contract, and then he played one game and brought the house down. So let's hope he can do that also. Jackson Callow, pretty much in the same boat. Hasn't quite done enough, but these tall forwards do take a while to develop, and he's pretty handy backup ruckman as well. Josh Morris, huge. He was just making some real good inroads, and love to keep him, but he's definitely someone clubs would potentially chase. And maybe put enough currency on the table to make Hawks think about it. Seamus Mitchell, which we still ton of potential, and we just haven't seen him at the top level yet. Tom Phillips and Tyler Brockman. So Tyler Brockman back at the club and was training, starting to look good again. So it's going to be hard to cut that list. I think we're going to move on. Is it minimum 4 or is it more?
Not sure there, mate. Sorry.
That's
probably,
right.
3 or 4, I would think. Shiels and Howe are the two for me that are possibly going to be moving on. I think Howie's a bit unlucky. He's probably one of our like sort of the 23rd man, I guess, and then possibly, but he's often the best player at Box Hill. So I think he's definitely got potential on an AFL list. You know, probably not a premium sort of club, not a premium club, but a club that's going well. You know, in high end finals. But I think he's good enough to play AFL footy. Downey's been disappointing. Yeah,
I think he's only came in twice.
Yeah,
so, and when when one of your assets is running, makes it hard for him to impress, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's you want to see some consistent footy. So he's been a little bit poor, but he hasn't really been able to get a run on the park. So like to see some more of him next year. I'll see how we go next year, I think.
I'm guessing this is for the new player coming across potentially, Carl Ammo.
Yeah, that seems to get more and more sure every week. So that'll be a good get if that does happen. But you never know. Things can happen when the trade period rolls around and all that. So we will see.
Here's the prediction from Con. McEvoy's already announced it. Howe, Shields, and Hardigan. I think Hardigan's pretty much gone, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any questions about that either. So those 4, which would, you know, if there's only 1 or 2 more potentially, it means we're keeping most on the list. But obviously we go to the draft and have to put a few more on the list as well, don't we?
Exactly right. I agree, Wayne. That I think Con's nailed it there, mate. That's pretty good. Hardigan's definitely one. I think that probably stands out. Anyway,
talking about that draft, I think Reese has dropped a little article too. So get to talkinghots.com and have a look at that article. It's on our socials as well. I think Daz has nailed someone who he's got high hopes of getting to the club, and if somebody doesn't sneak him earlier, looks like he's on the money and we'll be happy with that selection. So go over and have a read.
Absolutely. Let's hear some predictions, guys. I might start with you, Chris. What are we thinking? Are we going head or are we going heart this week? What do we think? Who's going to be best on and who's going to get it done?
Well, I was wrong last week. I went with my head and picked Gold Coast instead of my heart. Oh, look, I gave us a chance last week. I think I'm giving us less of a chance this week, as much as I'd love to see it. You just never know. I would really love to upset Richmond and kick him out of finals. All right, give me a number. I'm going to think Tigers are going to get us done by 4 goals.
4 goals. All right. Similar margin to last time. I'm going to think along similar lines. I reckon Hawks are going to serve it right up to them, but in the end, Tigers' experience and their want to play finals is probably going to get it done. I'm going to say Richmond by 10 in a really inspired performance from the Hawks. So I think we'll run them pretty close. Tom Mitchell, 45 disposals. Tommy, little cheeky swipe at the free kick.
He makes us laugh every week. He put that up about 10 minutes ago. So.
I think Richmond have certainly got definitely more to lose, but by default, more to play for. So I think they will get it done in what's hopefully a good game. I am going to be there. So if we don't get the job done, let's just hope that we at least put in a good performance. And I would like to see Duke best on ground as well, Troy.
Ooh, I like this one. I'd love to see Joshua Wood get a BOG.
And he's been good the last few weeks. He's been really, really good. This last month, he's been really solid.
Yeah. What's this? Tigers, too much at stake. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Dylan Moore, first goal. He's done that a few times this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was actually, he nearly kicked the first goal. I watched the first quarter of our last game against Richmond. He streamed through the middle with about 2 minutes into the game and nearly kicked the first goal of the game there. So hopefully he can do it. I think he hit the post. So hopefully he can do that this time because it was an exciting play that I saw today.
All right.
Agree, Chris.
There's too much more coming. Did you nominate BOG, mate?
I'm going to say, for us, I'm going to say Newcombe. But if they get the win, I think Bolton. I'm really concerned about him, as you can probably tell, fans and Chris, me talking about him tonight. I'm really, really concerned. But if Finn goes to him, I'll be confident. I think he's the matchup for me. And then shutting down one of the two talls in Rewalt and Lynch, probably Lynch more a priority for me.
The one thing we probably didn't touch on was the weather, and our wet weather footy this year has been phenomenal. So yes. I think it's looking like a lot of rain and potentially could save us. So maybe I'm going to go with a little bit of heart.
Change. No, you can always change if you're going back to Hawks, mate. Always.
We always want them to win. I'm just trying to be honest.
Exactly right. Just quickly as well, guys, I will mention good signs for the AFLW's kickoff. From what I read, they did sell all of the public reserve tickets for the game at Port Melbourne. They're trying to obviously get that moved to Marvel. We hope that gets done for the girls. That would be a ripper to kick off our season against the Bombers and write a new chapter in the Bombers and Hawks rivalry. So thanks to everyone that bought a ticket, obviously. Hopefully it gets moved. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Talking about that, mate, I signed up during the week, so I'm an official member. So hopefully I get my membership ticket in the mail and I can go to the game.
Very good, mate. Very good. That'll be exciting. Hopefully it's at Marvel. I think that'll be nice.
Yeah, that would be much better. I'd be more inclined to
nice to the girls. It'll be a good little thing to kick them off. I think that should be good. The fans have done exactly what the clubs have asked for them buy the tickets, get on and really push for it. So hopefully the AFL come to the party there and move it.
And we would be looking at sponsoring a AFLW player from the Hawks this season as well, just to keep that theme going. So we might have a little bit of a push for a bit of a fundraiser there to get that happening soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'd love for you to get on board and help us out. All right. Let's just wrap it up, mate. And I might make the game myself on Sunday, so I might be able to catch up for a sneaky beverage.
Sounds good, mate. Very good.
All righty. Good luck, Hawks, and hopefully we can talk about a win next week.
Thanks, guys. Go Hawks.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Catch up.